Good afternoon. Welcome to Interesting Talks. Hopefully you're in a good place and your glass is half full rather than half empty. Remember, we can top it back up no matter where we are in life. Hopefully you've had a good bank holiday and weather's not too hot today, but hopefully you had a good bank holiday, and the next one I think is August, so the end of the summer. So make the most of your time, the most precious resource we have. Now today's talk is something that I was talking about with a colleague or a friend of mine today, and it's something that lots of people suffer with, but we don't really talk much about it. So I'm going to introduce this to you and see if you suffer from this or you know anybody that does. I'll talk about what the condition is, then I'll give you some solutions of how best to work with it as far as I'm concerned from my knowledge that I have on this subject. So what it's called is the imposter syndrome. Now, it's a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. It's a bit of a mouthful, and I had to write it down. I'm not going to fool you. A psychological pattern in which individuals doubts themselves, doubts their accomplishments, and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. That's called the imposter syndrome. Now, lots of people suffer from it for different reasons, coming from different backgrounds. It really doesn't matter your status, wherever you started off in life. You could have come from an extremely rich family, you could have come from a poor family. The same rule applies. If you're very rich, people will say that you're an imposter because you're there because of your family's background and the money they have. If you come from a poor background, people will say, well, you didn't go to Ivy League University, you didn't go to one of the top universities like Edinburgh, Cambridge or Oxford, you didn't go to Eton, so how can you be a member of Parliament? How can you be a captain of industry? These questions will be asked. Again, regional accents, ethnic minorities, lots of people from these positions or anybody from an outside position can have this feeling of inferiority complex, imposter syndrome position in life. It can easily happen. And of course, we don't talk about it. So a lot of these things are just buried and there's no redress for it. And people might hear these words, buzzwords running about, but they don't apply them themselves. And they just say things like toughen up, man up, woman up, and get on with it. Well, that's okay. But these things lead to anxiety and depression. And then some people live, a poor quality of life. We're not here to survive. We're here to thrive. So this is what I'm going to say to you. So this comes from people possibly in college or university. You're going into a new position, you've got promotion. It's not a fluke. You got there because you got promoted. People see your work and said that you should have this position. So, try to accept it. It might be difficult if you have some kind of inferiority complex or you feel that you're not worthy. But you know what? Further in this talk, I'll give you some tips of how to address that. Now this can affect high achievers and it can affect their ability, that they can feel that they don't have the ability to do the job or the position that they've been assigned to. And they have a fear of being found out. Found out about what? If you can do the job, you can do the job. But if you suffer from imposter syndrome, then you will have that burning inside of you. You wake up in the morning, you go into work and you feel that everybody's going to find you out, that you're not up to the job. And so possibly you're telling yourself that, so that also reaffirms the position that you're taking on board. Anxiety and depression, and you could feel that you're not worthy. You're not worthy to be in this position. That can happen to you. Now this comes from people that, or anyone that feels that they need the pressure to succeed. They really got to be successful. It's very important to them that they're successful. And again, they can achieve, they could have got stuff done, but again, they feel the imposter syndrome, it sits with them. And again, anxiety, depression, these kind of feelings linger with them. Now it affects some of us more than others. And this can come from the messages what you might have got from your parents in your childhood, which refers to your attachment style. Now some parents will give you lots of praise and then they shoot you down the next minute. So you get a mixed message. That mixed message will lead you to be some form of insecurity that you've developed in your childhood, which we call your attachment theory, which I've done videos on that, and I would love to go back to it again. But if you've not heard about your attachment style, have a look online and see what your attachment style is. If you've got challenging parenting styles from your parents, i.e. they praised you one minute and put you down the next, you would possibly fall into the condition of having, a syndrome whereby you feel like an imposter at times in your work and also in other stages of your life, being with people. Minorities suffer far more, and so do outsiders. Now, minorities tend to hear from their parents, you have to work twice as hard to achieve anything in life. Minorities hear this. You have to work twice as hard to achieve anything in life. Now, if you're short, you've got a regional accent, or there's any deformity about yourself, again, you will definitely be challenged and you may achieve stuff, but again, you might actually feel the imposter syndrome taking place over you. Now, here are the solutions. This is what counts. I mean, we always like talking about problems in life, but I like to be a solution. I'm a solution-focused therapist. That is one of my traits of what I do in my work, find solutions for people and try to execute, for them to try to execute. Now, one is a self-talk. A positive self-talk. Now, we know we get all of these random thoughts. Again, I did a video on how many we get. We get 12,000 to 60,000 random thoughts every single day, and the majority of them are negative, and they don't come into fruition. But we don't need to worry about that, but that is taking place for all of us. So if you give yourself a positive self-talk to say that you're able to do this job, you've got the capabilities to do this job, you've studied for this job, you've been working in it for 10 years, so you've got an idea what goes on, so you can do the job, you're competent. You're not there by magic. So if you need to do a self-talk once a day, which is not a bad thing, I do that anyway, but sometimes we might need to do it 3 or 4 times a day, or we might need to do it every single hour on the dot. And if so be, and you're struggling to do that, set your phone, an alarm every hour, and you give yourself a positive affirmation, a self-talk. 2, write down things about yourself that you like. 3 to 5 things that you like about yourself. That you speak clearly, that you stand up for what's right, that you go take care of your demeanor, you look after your house, you look after your children, you look after your partner. Things that you know that you're good at, that you do, write them down. Don't just think these things. The power of writing stuff down comes time and time and time again. I just had a client just now and they talked about the journal is one of the key things that's helped them to move from point A to point B, and they have. And they, that's what they said. Writing stuff down has really helped them. It does help you, but it only helps you if you do it. No point thinking about it and not doing it. So write stuff down and look at what your good things that are about yourself and, just do them. Remember them. Another thing, look at your school reports. Look at the exams you've passed. Look at the distinctions, what you've had in your past, or things you've done at work that you've achieved. Things that are solid, that are written down, that can't be taken away. And you didn't write them yourself. Other people wrote them about you. If you've got 80% in a score, that's great. If you've got 80% in passing your theory in a driving test, it means you're switched on. You've passed your driving test. You've got a driving license. No matter what it is, look into your past, dig up these pieces of paper, evidence of how good you are at whatever you're doing, and then that reaffirms your ability that who you are and you are worthy of the position that you're in. You're worthy to command that job. You're worthy to be looked up to. You're worthy to be appreciated. These things help. Look at the evidence. Now, again, if you're struggling, then look back to, say, a mentor that you've had, or a mentor that you have, or that's available in your circle of friends. Go back to a professor or a school teacher that you used to know that is level-headed, and pick their brains. Say to them that you're feeling this imposter syndrome and ask them, did they ever feel it? Have they ever experienced that? And they will probably have a toolkit which they can give to you, which you can use to help you to get through the dilemmas that you're facing 2025 or whenever you watch this video. Imposter syndrome is always going to be around for different people for different reasons. But if you go to a professor or somebody who's on your team, somebody who believes in you, somebody that sees you for the achievements that you've come, things that you've overcome, strive through, and opened and closed doors behind you when the doors were said no and you got through it. These people, they know you. Talk to them and ask them what do they think, if they've got solutions to this. And if you can't work it out with people that you know, then there's always therapists like myself that you could contact. I'm on footprintscounselingservice.com. You could contact me, but not just me. There's thousands of therapists out there that can help you move from point A to point B with whatever issue you got. But right now we're talking about imposter syndrome. So if you've got issues with imposter syndrome, see a therapist if there's nothing else works, and they will help you work through it. Because as I've just said in the beginning of this video, life is not just about living, not just getting by. Oh, I'm okay, Jack, I'm all right, not things are... No, I want you to say, you know what, my life is fantastic. I can't even wait to get out of bed. I am absolutely loving every minute of my life. It's not going to be like that consistently, but why not the majority of the time? Hopefully you found this talk useful, informative. Apply some of the tactics. Anybody you know that might be struggling with imposter syndrome, then share the video with them. Leave comments. Let me know what you think so that I know what you think and other people can learn from your comments. We each one teach one. Subscribe to this channel. I would like to get the figures up more so that more people see it. And the algorithm, how it works, we don't, I'm a bit old school. We don't necessarily worry about those things, but I've been told to encourage people to watch my channel more because some people actually think I know what I'm talking about. Well, I believe I do. So share this video, like this video, subscribe, and in 2 weeks' time, I will be back with something else. Bye for now.